Also, Angela Rayner's in the news. I think you've got a bit of an update for us.
Yeah, so literally in the last few minutes, just before coming on air, Greater Manchester Police have announced that following a reassessment of their decision not to investigate Angela Rayner over the claims around her former council house, they've now decided to reopen a police investigation into that, following the letter by James Daly, Conservative MP. And so they are going to be investigating her over those claims. And I think really this then, of course, reopens the whole issue. And you saw yesterday Keir Starmer being quite irritable, quite tetchy in an interview, saying, you know, I'm not going to play games over this. And now, of course, he's got to come out and defend a deputy leader who was very quick to call for Boris Johnson to go when there was only a police investigation in January of 2022.
Well, James, thank you for informing us about that. I want to ask Scarlett what you make of that news that James has just given us.
Well, I mean, a lot of pressure has been put on the police, and now they're opening an investigation. We have no idea what they're going to find. I mean, if you remember... But
should Angela Rayner, specifically, should Angela Rayner step down while the investigation is going on, having called on an innumerable number of occasions for Boris Johnson to do the same, and other ministers who are under investigation?
No,
No? Why not?
No, I don't think... Look, we're talking about we're talking about 50... At the most, what she did was she did or didn't realise that she was supposed to pay capital gains tax, and there's £1,500 owing. Mm. I mean, actually...
Shouldn't people? What's the difference between someone owning 1.5 million and 1,500 quid? The principle is that you pay what you owe, right?
Yeah, and we don't even know that she owed it. I mean, there's an investigation open. There was an investigation opened into Keir Starmer over the Durham, you know, drinking a pint, and they found nothing, right? So, and he didn't resign during the investigation, and I don't think she should have.
But isn't the difference between Keir Starmer and Angela on this is that I believe, I know that she's repeatedly called for others to resign, particularly Nadim Zahawi over an investigation he had over tax. Isn't this sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander?
Nadim Zahawi, it was not an investigation, as they were already prosecuting him.
Sorry, just to be clear, he wasn't prosecuted.
Well, OK, he had misdone his tax and had to pay back millions.
But the allegations are the same against Angela Rayner.
But actually, I mean, I think that that if the police, if there is a case to answer, then she does have to do something. But I think while they're investigating, she can wait.
OK. Well, Charlie, there was reports in the Telegraph today that the Manchester Constabulary, defame Lancashire, the finest place in the world to live, Manchester Constabulary hadn't approached any of the neighbours around Angela Rayner's old house. Does it feel to you, having been forced to reopen this investigation, one of the questions they may have to ask is, you know, how deep a dive did you have on the first go round?
I think that's exactly right, and that's why I think James Daly, the MP for Bury North, had to. Has written to the police because clearly the investigation. I don't think there's been pressure that's put on the police. I think that's a bit too.
Well, it's a bit of political pressure, though, isn't it? You know, no chief constable. And by the way, the chief constable of Manchester is a fantastic individual, but no chief constable. He's sort of anti-woke police officer. He's fantastic, but no chief constable wants deputy chairman, vice chairman of the Conservative Party writing to them saying, you haven't done a good enough job on this. There is a bit of political pressure, otherwise they wouldn't have published the letter, would they?
Well, if the police had done a thorough job in the first place, then there wouldn't have been that letter and there wouldn't have been that pressure. So there's clearly something that has gone wrong within that investigation, which is why they've reopened it. But I think it is worrying for Angela, not least because I think the investigation is also looking into the electoral law of the fraud, sort of being registered at two different places and not, you know, along with allegedly sort of.
Well, I think the big issue is the council tax discount. You know, that may be the least of, and let's be absolutely clear, Angela Rayner has denied there's any wrongdoing whatsoever. But the question is around that council tax discount, which people get, capital gains tax. Complicated, don't really understand it. But I think people look at this and they go, right, I understand what single person council tax discount is. I understand why some people fiddle it. Angela Rayner denies any form of wrongdoing. And it also just strikes me as a bit odd that you'd be newly married, have kids together and live in two separate houses. I think that's where it's cut through to the public, and it's why the questions won't go away, surely.
I think that's absolutely right. And just to be absolutely clear, you know, with Nadim Zahawi, it was obviously a highlighted case because he was the Chancellor of the Exchequer at the time where he was facing issues with HMRC. Angela Rayner if elected, would go on to be not just the Deputy Prime Minister, Secretary of State for the Department for Levelling Up, Housing and Communities, which deals with electoral law, which deals with council houses, which deals with right to buy, which deals with a capital gains tax, which she is all of the allegations labelled against her. So she is in very,
I rather
very
agree
deep
with
waters.
Angela Rayner, though. You know, so one of the finest policies of Margaret Thatcher was the right to buy, and Angela Rayner's been a big beneficiary of it to the tune of several £1,000s. She certainly doesn't deny that she made a profit selling her home, and why should she? It's a perfectly good and reasonable thing to do.
But it's hypocrisy.
Scarlett, finally on this, Keir Starmer has sort of refused to say he has 100% confidence in Angela Rayner over the capital gains tax row. Is this a bit of a sign of nervousness at the top of the Labour Party that this, let's be clear, Angela Rayner says she's done absolutely nothing wrong. I just want to be really, really clear about that. She says she's done nothing wrong. But is this beginning to seep through to the public? There's something just a bit questions to be answered.
Okay, so I think at the moment, from what I hear, it's not coming up on the doorstep. It isn't seeping through to the public. I mean, the reason Keir can't say I'm 100% is because he hasn't seen it all. He believes Angela. I mean, he believes...
He's refusing to look at it. I mean, this is the guy that said he was, he stakes his whole career on being the former director of public prosecutions. He should be able to look... if I were him, I'd want to be looking at that advice, and if there is something wrong with it, I'd be saying to Angela, there is a problem here, Angela. You've now got to front it, rather than keep sort of, waving it away.
No, he's saying, I believe her. And she's saying, do you believe me?
But he's
and
not
he's saying, I believe you.
though, is he?
He's saying, I believe you, but I haven't seen it for myself.
I believe you, but
I might not.
Anyway, let's be really, really clear, just in case people didn't hear me say it 3 times more. Angela Rayner, of course, denies any wrongdoing whatsoever.